Our next speaker. Tim has been on several international missions and humanitarian projects around the world. He tells us how he stumbled onto his own God-sized project and challenges us to think outside ourselves and make the world a better place. Please welcome Tim Taylor and his speech, Your God-Sized Project.
Good morning, Toastmasters.
Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry. I challenge you. What will you leave behind when you leave this earth? Do you have a project that is bigger than yourself that will outlast you? Everyone just think about that for a minute. Think about what the world will be like when you're gone. What mark will you leave behind? Did you think of your family? Most of us do. We all want to leave a good legacy for our kids. But what I want you to think about is something God-sized. Something, if God is not involved in it, that there's no way that it would happen. I challenge you to start thinking this way and see what happens in your life. What is the God-sized project of my life? In 2002, I was invited to go on a missions trip to Namibia, Africa. Namibia is a country, southern Africa, right next to South Africa. It is one of the remotest places on the planet. Can y'all see it down there? It's one of the remotest places on the planet. This is South Africa. This is Namibia right here. It's a 2-hour jet ride to New York, an 8-hour ride to London, a 12-hour flight to Johannesburg, a 2-hour flight to Namibia, and an 8-hour Jeep ride. That's how far away it is. I took my 2 sons there. They were 11 and 13 at the time. They were the youngest kids on the trip. AIDS was ravaging southern Africa, and we went there to talk to school children. They were some of the most beautiful people I'd ever seen in my life. Just beautiful, beautiful. It was so remote. One day we got some Frisbees out. We were out throwing them, and the kids had never seen one. They did not know what it was. If you learn throwing a Frisbee, if you throw it just right at an angle, it will go up and come back. And the kids were blown away by it. They called it a flying plate. While I was there, I met a young man named Cosmos. He was very sharp. He spoke 7 languages. 6 of them were tribal, and he spoke English as well. He was one of our translators, like I said. He lived in a mud hut by a river. No running water, no electricity. He told me he really wanted to go to college. He actually wanted to go to seminary. Seminary is a school you go to if you want to become a pastor. The problem was, the only seminary in the country was 500 miles away. He lived up here where the red dot is, and the seminary was down here in the capital city. That's 500 miles. When I was leaving the country, I told him, you know what, you're a great kid, I like you, and I'll try to help you if I can. That's all I said. And then one day I got an email from him. He had to walk like 5 miles into a little town to get to an internet cafe to send me an email. And he said, I really want to go to seminary. I said, well, we'll see what happens. About a month later, I get an email from the school. This is very emotional to me. He's at the gate, and they said, if you don't agree to pay his tuition, room, and board, we're sending it back. He had walked and hitchhiked 500 miles with the belief that God would not let him down, and that I would not let him. And I said, Lord, I am paying for 3 kids, my own kids, to go to college right now. How can I do this? This is impossible. The next 3 years were the most profitable years I've ever had in my business. I've never had any trouble paying this tuition. But I said, God, it's impossible. this can't happen. There it is. Graduated in
Cool.
2006.
Very cool.
Then he said, I want to build a school in my home village. I said, Lord, that's impossible. How can I do this? I have to have some more income. So I came up with an idea. I owned an IT company that I started from scratch. I had a trunk in my car in 1999 by myself. At 40 years old, 3 kids, a mortgage, 2 car payments. And I wrote a book about that experience called How to Start and Run a Successful IT Company. That's the actual car I started out. And I said, Lord, whatever money I make on this book and on getting consulting that I do, I will donate to this project. The book sold like crazy on Amazon. I started a consulting practice. Those are people who actually do pay me like $400 an hour to consult. I don't have a lot of time to do that, but I do it. Every month, whatever I make, I send it them. And the first thing I said is, you gotta get out of the mud hut, you gotta live in a home, you gotta have a car to drive. They were just walking everywhere. Lord, it's impossible to build a home 8,000 miles from here. I don't have the money for this. There it is. That's the mud hut he used to live in. When I went there for his graduation, I gave him some metal, and he built this place. That's a 1 room. This is 4 bedrooms, running water, electricity. He's already held services. Was that my God-sized project? That was really the beginning. The school is next. Again, I said, Lord, I don't have the funds for this. You're going to have to help me. So I started the African Hope Education Foundation. One day, I will stand in front of you and tell you about the first graduating class. Hopefully, by the end of this year, I'm going to be visiting there again, and I will see how things go. He and his wife are also having trouble having children. Children in their society are a very, very big deal. They had 1 son, and they really wanted to have more, and started praying, and God provided. Guess what the son's name is? Tim Taylor. Names are a really big thing in their culture. Guys, what is your God-sized project? That's what I want to challenge you. If you don't have one, I've got a great one that you can get involved in. Just see me after me. Thank you.